Hello crochet lovers, how are you? Welcome to Crochet Lovers, the channel where we'll learn to crochet step by step. Today we'll learn to crochet the beanie I'm wearing. It's very easy to make and it can be worn by all sizes. And we need at least 2 colors so we can get this effect that I love. Trust me, it's super easy to make. It grows very easily and we can use this pattern in other projects. So come join me for this tutorial. Let's make this beanie together. We can make this beanie with any yarn you want. I suggest a medium thickness. I'll be using this super soft yarn from the brand Katia and the 5mm hook. On this video's description, you'll find more information regarding the material. But the most important thing is we have 2 colors, the main color, which is the one we'll use the most, and the secondary one, which we will not be using as much. So let's begin crocheting with our main color. Remember that if you need to practice the basic crochet stitches, you can always check out my basic curls for beginners. And now we'll make between 4 and 6 centimeters of chains. I'll make 7 chains in order to achieve 4 centimeters. This is how thick our band for the beanie will be. If you want to make it smaller or bigger, you just need to add or decrease chains. But I like the bands for my beanies to be about 4 centimeters thick. Once we have the thickness we want for the band, we'll make 1 more chain, and then we'll make 1 single crochet in the second chain from the hook. And after that, we'll make 1 single crochet stitch in each stitch available until we get to the end of the row. Then we make 1 chain, and we turn the project over. For all rows, we'll be working on the front part of the top loop of all previous stitches. Remember that all crochet stitches create a top loop that has a front and a back part. So we'll only be using the front part in order to crochet. So in here we make 1 single crochet. In the next stitch we'll use just the front part and we make another single crochet. We'll keep making single crochet stitches in the front part of the loops. And the back part of the loop will be free so we can create the right texture for the band. I'm almost done now. The last stitch is always a little hidden, so make sure you work on it. I suggest you count the stitches at the end of each row so we verify that our band is perfect. We repeat this process, so we make 1 chain and then 1 single crochet on each front part of the top loops. This is the texture we'll create for our band. So we'll just have to keep following this sequence until we get to the desired length for our band, which is the circumference of our heads. On screen you'll see some suggested measures, but it's always best to measure the head of the person we're making it for. But always remember that the band should be a little tight on the head. I have completed the length I wanted for my band, so we make 1 chain once we have the size we want. And now we'll attach both ends together. So we join both ends together and we insert the hook on one side. Then through the first stitch on the other side, which would be the chains we made. And after this we make a slip stitch. We move to the next stitch both for front and back. And then we make a slip stitch. And we'll keep going with this same sequence until we get to the end. This will be our closing stitches for the band, which will be on the inside of the project. On the outside, it should look like this. Now we'll set the band so that the yarn is facing upwards and to this direction. And now it's time to change colors. So we bring in the secondary color. We pull the thread from the previous color so that the new yarn is secured and we can work with it. And now with the secondary color, we make 1 chain. And we will begin crocheting right where the slip stitches are. Look for a hole to work in there. Keep in mind that it can be a little hard, but we'll make 1 single crochet stitch right where we stitch together both ends. Now we make 2 chains, and we'll look for the holes that were created on the edges of our band. As you can see, we have a hole and a stitch. A hole and a stitch. In each of those holes, we'll make 1 single crochet. Then we make 2 chains, and we'll skip to the next hole where we'll make 1 single crochet stitch. We'll use all the little holes on the edges of our band. We'll always make 2 chains afterwards and then 1 single crochet in each of the holes. That is the sequence we'll be repeating until we go all the way around. Once we have finished the row, we make our last single crochet in the very last hole. Then we make the last 2 chains, and we'll connect the row to the beginning, to the very first single crochet we made. This is how we'll close the first row. For the second one, we'll go back to our main color. We haven't cut it yet, so it's back there. We bring it up super close to our project. We'll pull from the secondary color's thread, and with the main color, we'll make 3 chains. After this, we'll look for the bridges made from the chains we crocheted on the previous row. And in each of those, we'll crochet 3 double crochet stitches. We have 1, 2, and 3 double crochets in that very first bridge. Then we go to the next bridge and we make the next group of 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3 double crochet stitches. And we keep going until we go all the way around. We just need to make a group of 3 double crochet stitches in each of those 2 chain bridges. We're almost at the end, and in the last bridge we'll make just 2 double crochet stitches. We'll close this row with a slip stitch in the third initial chain. And now we'll imagine that those 3 chains complete the final group. Now we'll change colors again. We'll always change colors like this. We'll bring it from the back, and with this new color, we'll make 1 single crochet stitch in the hole between the double crochet groups. Then we make 2 chains, and we'll move to the next hole in between groups. And in each one of them, we'll make a single crochet. They are very easy to identify because we have a stitch already made 2 rows below. After this, we make 2 chains and another single crochet in between the groups. 2 chains and a single crochet in between groups, and so on until we go all the way around. Good job! In order to finish the row, we make 2 chains to connect to the beginning. And in there, we'll make a slip stitch in the very first single crochet stitch we made. And now the only thing left to do is to keep repeating the rows with the main color and the secondary color. I'll show you on screen the suggested measures for the height to the beanie we should have. The first number is for the tighter beanies and the second one is for looser ones like slouchy beanies. So it's up to you to decide the height you need. I'll just keep working on this, following the instructions. Remember that with the main color, we'll always begin with 3 chains. And in each bridge made from the 2 chains from the row below, we'll make a group of 3 double crochet stitches. Right now, I already have the desired height for my beanie. I'm making a beanie for an adult woman, so I have crocheted 18 centimeters. And once we have reached the height we need, we'll make some decreases at the very top of the beanie that will help us close it off. We'll make the decreases while we're making a main color row. So we make the 3 chains like we always do. But for now, in the bridges made from the chains of the previous row, we'll just make 2 double crochet stitches. We were making 3 double crochet stitches and now we'll just make 2. And this is how we'll create the decreases. We go to the next stitch and we make 2 double crochet stitches. And so on until we go all the way around our beanie. Once we get to the end, we'll just make 1 double crochet in that very last bridge. Only 1. Because remember that the first 3 chains we made work as 1 double crochet for the final group. We just close the row with a slip stitch in that third initial chain and we change colors. With that secondary color, we make 1 single crochet like we always do. Then we make 1 chain. That's what's different this time. And then we go to the next hole where we make 1 single crochet. The difference this time is that we'll make 1 chain instead of 2, and we keep going until we go all the way around. Once we have made the last chain, we'll crochet a slip stitch in the very first stitch to close the row off. Now we'll make the very last row with our main color. So we begin with 3 chains. And this time in the bridges we'll make 2 double crochet stitches, and then the next one we'll make just 1. So we'll crochet 2 double crochets and then 1. We keep going until we go all the way around. So we begin with 2 double crochet stitches in the very first bridge. Then we make 1 double crochet in the next one. Then we make 2. Then another 1. And you should know the sequence by now. We'll just keep going until we go all the way around. Don't worry if you see some small holes, because they will close later on and we will not see any holes left. So we just keep going until we go all the way around, and then the last hole, it doesn't matter how many double crochet stitches we made before, we'll just make 1 double crochet. And then we close off the row with a slip stitch in the third initial chain. And our beanie is now ready. We just need to cut the secondary thread. Make sure it's long enough so we can hide it later. And then we should leave about 20 centimeters of the main color so we can work with it and use it to close the top of the beanie. So we'll bring in a yarn needle and we'll pull the yarn towards the opposite stitch in order to close it. We'll just be using the main thread and the yarn needle. After we do this, we should have 2 flaps. So now we go to the other end and we pull from one of the flaps. So we have 1 and 2. And after this, we should have 4 flaps. They should look like this. I'll turn this around a bit. And we'll pull the yarn with the needle through the opposite sides of those flaps. Make sure to take your time while you're doing this. You will see that new flaps will be made. Since we started by making 4 flaps, you will notice that once we are done with this process, we'll end up having 8 very small flaps at the very top of our beanie. It's a bit complicated to see them now. But when you have the beanie in your hand, they will be clearer. You'll just have to find the flaps, so we go through the second one, then the third one. Remember, there should be 8 initial flaps when we begin making this. Once we have gone all the way around, we should be able to imagine a circle at the very top of the beanie. And we'll go through that circle with the needle. Just imagine you're making the circle with the needle. This will help us go all the way around at the very top of our beanie. We have done half a circle by now, and all there's left to do is the second half. Our project is ready now. We just need to finish it off with the yarn and create a knot. So use the needle to bring in everything towards the inside of the beanie. And once on the inside, we'll make another knot to finish it off. Now just secure the yarn, and the final step is to hide the yarn in the stitches we have made before. Then we cut close to the base and it's done. Once you have done all of this, make sure to hide all the threads that are there, including the initial ones. And now you can see that your beanie should be finished and ready to wear. As you can see, this is a very easy beanie to make and the result is spectacular. So I hope you begin making it as soon as possible. You can let me know which colors you'll use in the comments below. I am super excited to see it. Have a great day, crochet lovers!